Hello everyone and welcome back to another daily race, and today we're just going to be going over this race and how good it was. Now the big problem about this is that I forgot to save the replay, so yeah, I don't have good angles, but you guys are still be able to see the race just from only the hood. It's still very good action, which I love because it was a lot of pressure. It was a pressure race. Anyways, enjoy. Alright, starting off on the left, the Ferrari ends up disconnecting. I don't know what happened, but because of that I crashed into him. The Viper ends up getting a good run and he ends up passing me. I end up braking very early, which is the reason why he passes me. Now these next few corners are chaotic. As you can see, there's a Ford who spun out. I don't know why it's a red Ford. It looked kind of like a Ferrari. But now we're going into the next corners and a huge group ahead, and you already know in daily races that never ends good. Now after this corner, I'm going to start catching up to Viper, which is in 6th. Now they start to bump a lot and end up losing a lot of speed, which is the reason why I end up getting more speed. And then this next corners, I choose not to overtake since it's that risky. This corner I was going to go in the inside, but not because he protected. He ends up slipping and hits me, and I end up saving him from losing the car. Now because he bumped into me, I end up losing a lot of speed and momentum, and the Audi behind me ends up overtaking. Now this corner specifically is always chaotic. There's always going to be someone dive bombing or missing their braking points, or just hitting the person in front on purpose and hoping they don't get a penalty, as you can see. And then the Porsche ends up hitting me, which I think he got a penalty for. I don't know. All of them behind me have a penalty, which makes sense. Now we're gonna skip to the nearest fight. Fast forwarding into the first turn, the Porsche from earlier ends up going for a dive bomb, and he ends up missing it and like not sticking it, and I ended up with the switchback. Now I am starting to catch, I believe, 5th, the Viper from earlier that was right behind me in the start. Now I'm starting to catch him with very good pace. Now just for your information, if you look on the bottom right, the radar, you could see where everybody is and like the angles and like whether if they're on my right, on my left, right behind me. So yeah, just for information to watch the video and understand how much pressure I was really getting into. I just hit the wall, and as you can see, I think the Viper ends up spinning out right here. Yep, and I end up getting another position as well as the person behind me. Well, I end up losing that pressure because the Porsche ends up with the penalty, and he has to serve that penalty. And I'm about to beat the lap record, but I end up not. And now we're gonna skip to the nearest fight that I encountered. Now later in the race, I end up catching up to this Ferrari and Audi Evo. Now they end up going into this corner. Now later in the race, the Audi ends up going wide, Ferrari in the middle. I end up going on the left, which I don't have enough momentum to stay there. They are now fighting. I'm just staying behind here, hoping that they don't end up crashing into me and I don't have a big problem. Now later in the race, the Ferrari on the left is a huge troublemaker, very aggressive. I end up going on the left, very aggressive move from me, and I end up backing off because I knew that was a risky move. Ferrari ends up going on the inside, Audi blocks and not letting me pass. Now it's a fight for 3rd, so of course this is going to be pretty aggressive, but not at the same time, since and then the Audi ends up going left. I forgot about that. Ferrari still trying to remain, and he's blocking a lot. He's keeping his line, and the Audi in front ends up keep losing speed, and now I'm the only one that has the pace to overtake these two, but they are just defending very good. Now these two end up just fighting the whole race, and they end up literally slowing me down a couple laps, and I end up look behind me and I realize there's someone catching up, and I really need to pass these guys, and they just keep fighting and fighting. Now in this corner, I know that they're gonna lose speed, and I might be able to pass them. As you can see, they end up going too wide. Audi goes on the outside. Ferrari, very aggressive, ends up hitting the Audi a little, giving a little love tap. I end up getting a run on the Ferrari, and trying to keep that run and trying to use that as to overtake him. And he gets a run with the Audi. Now I start to think, well, we're gonna get overtaken if we don't. So I end up bump drafting him, giving him a little bump so he can overtake the Audi. And he ends up doing so on the outside, or yeah, he does so, but I end up staying behind here. And as you can see, I think someone else is catching up, so we're gonna have to, and I end up trying to go on the inside again, keep blocking. It's not good luck for me since two people are covering up every single chance I get, and they are defending very, very good. And now it's just me, and I'm just trying to overtake the Ferrari. I end up going in the inside, trying to go in the inside, but I end up failing. Now it's just me, Ferrari, Audi. Wait, what am I saying? Fast forwarding to the straight, I end up getting a run on the Ferrari, a good slipstream. Now the Ferrari is very aggressive in this corner, where he tends to dive bomb every chance he gets. He dives bombs from like afar. I end up going on the inside, and he ends up getting sort of a better run on me, or actually no, I end up getting a better exit. So I end up overtaking him, and it's now me fourth and the Audi in third, and it's just me and the Audi. And finally the Ferrari is, I think he dive bombs into this corner, the first corner. I'm not sure, I don't remember the race that good. Let's see if he does. Does he? Oh no, he doesn't. He ends up holding back, and I end up going on the inside and protecting it. Now me and the Ferrari are catching up to the Audi. Now I know that I'm eventually gonna have to pit since it's lap 7. Now since the Ferrari tends to get very aggressive, I end up coming to the conclusion that pitting now is probably the best, since if I don't, I'll probably end up in a crash with the Audi. I mean, not the Audi, the Ferrari. The Audi is now messing up, and he is now starting to ball up, and I'm starting to get faster and faster, more consistent. And he's just losing his pace. Me and the Ferrari catching up. Now this is where the Ferrari genuinely starts to snap and starts to become more aggressive. Now this fight has been going on for what, 2-3 laps now? Pretty long fight. Now there's a lot of pressure, giving these two cars a lot of pressure moment. As you can see, the Ferrari ends up going for the dive bomb. He ends up pushing me, which I don't know why he did that. Now I think I did pit in this lap. I'm not sure. Did I pit? No, I didn't, but I ended up pitting because of the Ferrari. Now right here it's me in third, Ferrari in second, and Audi in first. Now since I'm so close, I'm thinking about going in for the dive, and I end up doing so, and I end up getting a very, very good inside line, and he ends up bump drafting me a little, and I end up on the Audi again. I'm a fast forward. Now the Audi ends up having the greatest human history fumble. He ends up missing his braking point and putting it in the wall, sending it into the wall, and he is now fighting the Ferrari and Audi. Now of course I'm first, but I cannot handle this pressure, and I know eventually that these two are gonna end up fighting very aggressive. So it's either pit now or pit never. So I end up choosing to pit now. Now because of the, what is it called? I don't know, rule book. Soft tires are mandatory, and pitting is mandatory. So if you're on mediums, you have to pit for softs, and if you're on softs, you have to pit for mediums. Now of course this is a no-brainer. You always have to start mediums. So then at the end of the race, you end up having faster pace than normally everybody. Now I do the time with qualifying in soft, so I do have better pace than I do in mediums. Now later in the race, everyone pitted, and now I'm in third. Now someone ends up crashing. Second crashes. I end up going to second. Now it's just me in first, and now I'm just catching and crawling my way up to first. Now, as I was talking about, the Ferrari is right behind me. I think that's the Ferrari. He ends up sending it into the first corner. He ends up hitting me, forcing me onto the outside. Now I end up getting a switchback and gets a better exit. So I end up right side by him, but not anymore because the momentum is not enough to match my speed. Now we are going into these next corners. he is right behind me. He tends to have a better exit on this corner because I think he rails it up and like has a later turn. Now we are now catching up to first. First ends up having horrible pace, to be honest, not too consistent. He ends up messing up every single corner or missing something in every corner, which is the main purpose. We end up catching up to him. Now during the end game, the Ferrari ends up getting pretty aggressive on this straight and just starts going for every move. As you can see, I'm having to block the inside and he's going on the outside. Now he ends up going on the outside, sending it, and as you can see, I end up blocking him from that switchback, and he ends up hitting me, giving me a little bump trap, and we end up losing time a little bit from the person in first, but he ends up not getting away, the person in first. I'm gonna skip. Actually, I think it doesn't stop here. The fight? No, it does. I'm gonna skip to the near side. Now for this fight, it's very important to know to look at the bottom right. Now as you can see, he ends up going for the inside no matter how much I block. He ends up pushing me, going for the inside. I end up having to stay out. He ends up on the inside for the dive bomb. I end up getting a better exit. He ends up hitting me a little bit, and then I end up right side to side to him. We are now catching up to first. He is pushing me and trying to keep second, but it's not enough, and I end up in second. He ends up right on my rear, and now I think, nope, he is catching up, and he ends up on the outside. I end up forcing him on the outside, and I end up keeping second. We are now catching first by a long time, and we are catching first really good. He ends up going on the inside. He has a penalty, which is good because we're on the final laps now, and he ends up having good pace. And first is just it's not looking good. Pace is not good. It is now looking very good for me. Now fast forwarding it, the Audi ends up going into the wall, sending it, and ends up losing first. He goes wide, letting me pass, and now the Audi is just holding back the Ferrari. And the Ferrari tends to be very aggressive to the Audi, and I think he hits him if you look at the radar. And now it's just me. And I already, as you can tell, I got the one. So I'm gonna skip to the finish line. Now at the finishing line, I'm waving my car with excitement because I just went from 8th to 1st with a beautiful race. Thank you guys for watching. And if you made it this far, subscribe. As you can see, there's the freaking error that help or that prevent me from playing the replay. Thank you guys. And if you want to see more, subscribe and like. See you on the next one.